Good morning. Today I am doing another episode of Beauty and the Bibliophile, but in a kind of different way, as I am trying to figure out my YouTube schedule and making it work with my work schedule. So if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Leah. If you're not new here, welcome back. As often as I can, I do a series called Beauty and the Bibliophile, where I talk about the latest book that I've read as I'm getting ready for work. Today, we are going to be talking about Jordan Peterson's Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life. And this is a companion book to his first previous book, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. Now, in the previous book, it basically gave us 12 rules to live by in order to keep chaos in our life at bay. Chaos is what it sounds like. Anytime, basically, that you're unhappy with your life, anytime that things seem out of sorts. Most of us need some order in our life, otherwise we just bounce around and we never accomplish anything. This book, on the other hand, is kind of the opposite. Because if you have too much order in your life, then there's no challenges and it can get kind of boring, and that can lead to, for some people, depression. For me, that is definitely the case. If I am not working on something, if as much as I do like routine, if it's too much, like if there's never any variety, I get bored and I get depressed. So the first rule is do not carelessly denigrate social institutions or creative achievements. So in other words, don't go looking for problems, I think, or don't unnecessarily criticize things that don't need it or do serve a purpose. Sometimes when you're lonely or confused or bored, we start problems we don't need to, or find fault with things that aren't necessarily there. Oh, and by the way, all this that I'm saying, this is just how I interpreted what I was learning, how I applied it to myself. So whether this is an accurate representation or of what he meant, again, this is just how I saw it. So don't come for me if I maybe got some things wrong. He talks about how sometimes maybe we misunderstand certain institutions, certain roles, and we criticize them without really understanding them. If you do this, you're just proving yourself a bit of a fool, a bit of a crybaby, maybe you could even say. Because instead of just making things right in your life, whatever is causing chaos, you're just distracting yourself with what you think other people or other institutions, society as a whole, are doing wrong. Now, I'm not saying that you don't do that if something truly is wrong, but you don't just do it for no reason, because that's the only thing that can bring meaning to yourself. Again, these are just the kind of thoughts that I have as I'm reading this book. Having social institutions really is mostly a good thing usually. That doesn't mean they're sometimes insufficient and can't be redirected or course corrected. But that doesn't mean we should just get rid of them altogether. Just because something is a social tradition doesn't necessarily mean that it's no longer useful just because it's something we've always done. doesn't mean we shouldn't keep doing it. It possibly has been this way for so long because it works so well. But then again, if it's not working so well, maybe it is time to reconsider the tradition. It's about balance. Rule 2 is imagine who you could be and then aim single-mindedly at that. Try to imagine who you could be at your best and think about what kind of things you would need to do to make that a possibility. Familiarize yourself with the hero's journey and imagine yourself as that hero in your own life. What does that hero look like? How do they act? What are the things they do? Can you do those things too? Rule 3 is do not hide unwanted things in the fog. In other words, if something is bothering you, you should try to take care of it. It can be hard sometimes to talk to people who are doing things you don't like. Believe me, I know. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It can probably really improve things if you don't let things go and let them get worse. Even little things sometimes. Doesn't mean you're a jerk about it and the way that you broach the subject with the person. But that doesn't mean you don't do it altogether. A lot of times when someone's doing something that you don't like, you find annoying, or is more than just an annoyance, they don't even know they're doing it. Sometimes they do, and you need to get to the bottom of that too. Also, sometimes the things that are bothering us aren't something that somebody is doing. It could be something that happened in the past. And one good way to know that if something from the past is bothering you enough to maybe talk to somebody or the person, a person, or somehow try to correct it, is if certain memories continually just like pop up in your head and it bothers you, upsets you. But normally, you know, when things like that happen, I'm very guilty of this. I just push it out of my head and I'm like, oh, it's the past. There's nothing you can do about the past. But sometimes there is. If you made a mistake, you can try to correct it. Or if someone did something to you, you can try to talk to them about it or figure out a way to correct it, or at the very least learn from the situation and figure out what to do if the situation comes up again. A lot of times that's why past memories still bother us, is because we haven't figured out how to deal with something like that if it happens again. And so our brain is constantly just like, you haven't learned yet, you haven't learned yet. So rule 4 is notice that opportunity lurks where responsibility has been abdicated or avoided. A lot of us are avoiding our responsibilities, but can you imagine how much better you would feel if you confronted them, got them out of the way, and sometimes, a lot of times, the thing that you're most trying to avoid, that you're most scared of doing, can actually lead you to a wonderful new place. Maybe it's a new job, a new relationship, something you've been wanting. Usually, everything we want lies on the other side of fear or irresponsibility. Rule 5 is do not do what you hate. Don't be a hypocrite. Rule 6 is to abandon ideology. Ideology can get you in a lot of trouble by rigidly obeying something, an idea, a way of thinking, a philosophy can sometimes corner you. When you say you believe one thing, but a lot of ideologies contradict themselves. And again, nobody likes a hypocrite. An extreme version of this can definitely be seen in situations like the Jim Jones situation, The part wasn't in the book, but it made me think of that. Rule 7 is work as hard as you possibly can on at least one thing and see what happens. He talks about the value of heat and pressure on a diamond and how you can turn coal into a very valuable stone through pressure. So putting some pressure on yourself to get something done as quickly as possible by putting in all your effort into it can really help not just accomplish the thing, but again, seeing who that hero that you could be in action. Rule 8 is try to make one room in your home as beautiful as possible. And this kind of goes along with one of the rules from his previous book, which was, something about making sure that your room is clean before criticizing others. And this takes it even a step further. I'm gonna do my lip liner and be right back, since I can't talk and do that at the same time. So again, this idea just carries on from the last book. Basically, the idea is get your room in order, because how can you get anything else in your life in order or help the world if you can't even keep your own room clean? And then you want to expand it from there as much as you can, over and over. So get your room clean, then expand it even more. Make it as beautiful as you possibly can. Then expand it more. Move to other rooms in your house. Move to right outside of your house. Move to your neighborhood, your community, your world, helping to make each step in the process, each new area, a better place. So then rule 9 is, if old memories still upset you, write them down carefully and completely. And we kind of touched on this already, but again, this is another way to kind of move on from things. Write them down as detailed as you can and then try to learn from it. He has like a writing exercise that you can do online that helps with this, which I'm doing right now. Hold on. And so far it's been very helpful, but at the same time it's kind of hard because sometimes you have to think about those things you've been pushing out of your head. And I'm kind of stuck on a point right now, actually, because of that reason. I don't want to think about it. But I'll get there. And that's another great thing about it, is you can do it at your own pace. So rule 10 is to plan and work diligently to maintain the romance in your relationship. I think all of us kind of know this, that, relationships take work. Most of us get caught up in life and we just don't have the time we would like to spend with our partners or our families. But it's hard. So you have to make it a priority unless you want to lose your partner or your family. So rule 11 is do not allow yourself to become resentful, deceitful, or arrogant. Because ultimately, if you become that way, you're just giving yourself more suffering. First, you have the thing that you're resentful or arrogant about, which causes pain. But then to also be resentful about it just gives you another layer of pain and suffering, which is unnecessary. It's Monday, so I'm not caring too much about my hair today. And I'm probably gonna try is the key word, to go to the gym. If I have to change to go to the gym from work, I'm most likely not gonna go. So I try to just kind of be already ready. So rule 12, our last rule, is be grateful in spite of your suffering, which I think is a key to happiness in life. We all go through things. Some of them we bring on ourselves. Some of them, a lot of them, we don't. But suffering is what makes us grow and turns us into that person we imagine ourselves being, that hero we talked about earlier. A hero never becomes a hero without facing some monsters. So there's joy in knowing that. So yeah, that is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. I basically love everything that Jordan Peterson puts out. I think he is really someone who can help you grow. And I had to get this book read because his new book, Who Wrestle With God, comes out today. So my pre-order should be here by the time I get home from work and I can start that one. So if you liked this video and you liked listening to me talk about a book, it wasn't really a summary, you know, these ones where I get ready for work, I have to kind of go through them a lot quicker because I gotta get to work. And I don't really prep them like a summary. I kind of just flip through the book as I'm sitting here and talk about the thoughts I have as I'm doing that. Intriguing, I know. Anyways, so if you like this video, let me know by giving it a like. That's how I know what kind of videos I should be making. And yeah, subscribe if you want. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good week.